My name is Jack Neal. I'm in field service with for E&I. And what we've got to talk about this morning is the catenary bar screens out there in the east facility. First thing we'll start off with, this is our manual. You want to kind of familiar yourself with it, go through it. It's got some general information in the front. Storage, you guys won't be using that. Installation. There's some operation procedures, might come in handy. Lubrication, some maintenance, you'll probably look at that stuff pretty close. We've got a section on ordering parts. If you need to order any parts or talk to someone about something, you got see something you need or talk about just a part, what it's doing. Got a telephone number, and we've got some email address and things. Okay, you'll go through here and you'll find some catalog cuts, parts and pieces out there. You'll find a section on the drive, the reducer on the bar screens. Find a section on the field bolts. Design, you'll find in the back, you'll find some prints, information, kind of parts, what we call them, and so on. So when you get a chance, take a look at that. Your own manual on the bar screen. First thing we're going to do is, everybody get one of these? Open up this page here. First page, general information. Should be the first one.
Yes, I'm looking. I know.
Oh, you're looking at something. Okay. Yeah, your general information. It just talks about the bar screen, how it's designed, manufactured, and so on, what it's supposed to do, that kind of thing. This is a two-shaft type bar screen we have out there. You've got an idler shaft and you got a head shaft. We'll go into a little more details farther into this thing. Go over here to the page, it says training session. We've got a number 1 down at the bottom. Okay, these are what we're going to equipment orientation. Review the components, function of components, catalog sheets found in the service manual, operation and maintenance. You'll find a weekly review, a monthly, and a semi-annually procedure for greasing and maintenance on it. We'll review lubrication. We'll review the routine observation, and then safety, the guards, and talk about locking it out and things like that. Repair and parts replacement. You'll talk about the drive and the O&M parts list, and all the parts are replaceable on the unit, and the section on ordering parts. Okay, go over here, next page should have 2 down at the bottom, and it should say training session at the top. Okay, equipment orientation and maintenance combined. The drive unit that's on the bar screen is a Euro Drive 2 gearbox. You got a larger box and you got a smaller box on it, and they both have to be drained. You can't drain one and expect it both of them to drain. So you drain each one of them, and you'll drain it at the lowest point in the bottom on each one of them. It's got a fill sight glass, so you fill it up with the sight glass, and you'll fill it through the top, and it's got a vent plug on each box. The gearbox comes equipped with Mobile 630, lubrication in it from the factory, and that's good for 10,000 hours or every 2 years. So you don't have to do anything to it till it falls in that scheme of things. The reducer can be moved to adjust the drive chain on the bar screen. There's a section in the O&M on capacities, types of lubrication you can use. Like I said, it's Mobile 630. You can either find something that's equivalent to that, check the book, or whatever you're using out there that it's equivalent to your Mobile 630. Any questions on the gearbox? Anybody got anything on the gearbox they want to talk about? We'll go through it and we'll ask some more questions at the end there, see if anybody's got anything on anything. Okay, attached to the drive unit is a drive sprocket. And this is a cast iron drive sprocket, just plain sprocket, no shear pin in it, just your plain sprocket. Maintenance, there's no maintenance on it. It's an observation type thing, so you'll just be looking at it every so often, see how it's wearing, see if it's still tight, still hasn't moved or anything like that. Lubrication, when you lubricate the drive chain, it's going to pick up some lubrication and lubricate the drive sprocket. Again, it's just basically a maintenance observation type thing on the drive sprocket. It's got set screws in it, so you want to every so often check your set screws, see if they're tight, see if anything hasn't moved, anything like that. Okay, you got a driven sprocket. Now that sprocket is keyed to the shaft, the head shaft, and that's at the other opposite end of your drive chain. And it's a large 34 tooth sprocket. It's keyed to the shaft. It's got set screws. Maintenance, there's no maintenance. It's an observation type thing. So you'll be looking at it every so often and see if it's in place, see what the wear is. And again, when you lubricate the drive chain, it's going to pick up some lubrication and put on the driven sprocket. Okay. Drive chain. This has got a roller type drive chain on it for the drive chain. And what we recommend is that you lubricate this thing every 8 hours of running. And you use a lightweight oil. When I say lightweight, 5, 10, 15, or 20 weight type oil. And you can brush it on, drip it on, any way that you want to apply the lubrication to the chain. And the reason why we go with a lightweight oil is the barrels, everybody used to grease chains and put the heavy lubrication on, but we found that it doesn't get inside the barrel, so we go with a lightweight oil, which gets inside the barrels, lubricates the inside of the barrels, where otherwise we just lubricate the outside. So use a lightweight 5, 10, 15, 20 weight lubrication every 8 hours of running. Okay? Tension. You want an inch or more of tension in the chain. I'd rather see more than less. If you get it real tight, she wears out too much. So you want to keep an inch or more of slack in the chain. And you'll be observing that about every 6 months, see if it needs adjusted or something like that nature. Any questions so far? Okay. Head shaft sprockets and idler sprockets. Go over to the next page, page 3. Should be at the top, should say head sprockets and idler sprockets. Okay, this unit has, like I say, two shafts. You got an idler shaft and you got a head shaft. Now the head shaft is keyed. Everything on the head shaft is keyed. And everything on the idler shaft is not keyed. They're set screwed or run free. So if you go to the head shafts, sprockets that are on the head shaft, they're keyed, you've got set screws in them, and they have a certain distance, center line distance they're set at. They're a chain saver rim and split. Does everybody know what a chain saver rim is? Okay. You know what a chain saver is? You shook your head no.
I don't.
Okay. Chain saver rim has got a ring around it, just below the teeth, that holds the chain up so it doesn't lay down in the pocket, and it's got a big ring around it. So it helps, it keeps the wear of the chain and the sprocket down and gives you more longevity out of things. So if it doesn't have it, it sit down in the pocket and just keep it in that pocket. That way it helps it so it doesn't eat the pocket. That's called a chain saver rim. Again, it's split. You don't have to take the shaft out, change it, unbolt it. Sometimes you have to drive a wedge and break them apart. They're split in the center and cast that way. So that's your head shaft sprockets. Maintenance, observation, just if they're bolted down tight, don't move anything that type. Lubrication, your carrying chain will pick up some water, it'll bring it up, and that'll help with the lubrication on the sprockets. Idler sprockets. Now the idler shaft is not keyed, but your sprockets on there, you have one free and one set. And when I say free, it runs in between two set collars, and it'll run free on your shaft. Then you've got one that's set, and it's got set screws that set it to the shaft. And then down the road, you want to make sure your free sprocket stays free. A lot of times they'll get gunked up, and they'll want to make a set, and then you'll have it kind of one it'll kind of want to lead the other, and you'll hear a snapping and cracking on it sometimes. So you want to down the road is make sure that the free sprocket is free, and if it isn't, you're going to have to get some lubrication in it or something like that to see if it'll free up. And that has chain saver rims on it too on the idler. So everything up on top has got chain saver rim. Maintenance, again, no maintenance, an observation. See how it's wearing. Lubrication will come out of the water. Okay. Carrying chain. The carrying chain is your main big chain that has the rakes attached to it, and it has a certain way of travel. Now let's back up to, because I forgot to tell you the travel on the drive chain. Drive chain is large end forward, so everything's large end forward on this on installing chain. So back to the carrying chain. Carrying chain is large end forward, 6-inch pitches. They're a steel chain, fabricated chain. Length, if you have to tension the thing, the only thing you're worried about is the rake dragging on the floor. So if the rake drags on the floor, you'll want to take a link out of the chain. That's the only way you can adjust it. Take a link out of the drive chain. Right now we've got the thing set around 3 inches off the floor, so I don't see any reason why you would have to take a link out of it for years and years if you have to. Lubrication, it's going to pick its lubrication out of the water for the carrying chain. It has attachment links for the rakes to bolt to, which is four bolts holds the rakes on to the carrying chain. Rakes. The rakes are there's a rake plate on the front, the front of it's called the rake plate, which is welded on. And down the road, if the rake plate teeth wear out, you can replace that plate, but you don't have to take the old one off. You can just weld right over top of the old one. You can do that once. So you put it back, put the new one on, and stay out at where the teeth are. Don't weld inside where the teeth are. Weld on the edges or back behind it. And you can do that once. Then after that, you got to grind everything off or buy new rakes for it, and new installation. Maintenance, just an observation, make sure all the bolts stay tight. Check things, see if they're wearing. And the way you can tell if your chain's dragging on the floor, on the back side of the rake, you'll start getting a radius on it. It'll start rounding off the back side where the big weight is. So if you see that, you're going to have to take a link out of it and adjust it up. But like I say, I don't see that for a long, long time. There's 8 rakes on here. They're all the same. None of them different. They're all the same. Bearings. It has head shaft bearings, idler shaft bearings, and wiper bearings. And the head shaft bearings are roller type bearings, and we recommend once a week lubricate the head shaft bearings. And we've got wiper bearings, or 1-inch bearings on the wiper that wipes the rake off, and we recommend you grease those once a week. So you'll be greasing the head shaft bearings, the idler shaft bearings, and the wiper bearing all at the same time. Okay. Anybody got any questions so far on anything? Okay, limit switch. Now we have a limit switch. We call it a park switch. It's up on the top, the rails run across the top. It's got a whisker on it. You got one rake, it's got a tab on it. And as this rake passes by the limit switch, it trips the lever. And what that does, so if this thing shuts off, and that rake comes past that limit switch and trips that lever, it parks the rakes out of the channel. So there's not one down in the bottom of the channel. So it'll go past the rake, then it'll shut off and park the rakes. That's why we call it a park switch. The only way to test it is just make sure that it's parking the thing right, correctly. Maintenance, there's no maintenance on it, just an observation. See if the whisker on it is still touching the rake in contact with the tab. Okay, shocks. The wiper assembly on the back that wipes the rakes off, it's got two automotive shocks on it to keep the thing from slamming shut. So somewhere down the road, these things, I've seen them last a year, 2 years, 5 years. Yeah. And what happens is it'll wear out and it'll slam down, and then now you'll have to replace the wipers on it. And the wiper assembly has a PVC blade on it, which is adjustable. So you want to keep that adjusted down and keep it wiping off the rake. You want to observe that, see how it's doing it, and see if it's you need to adjust it down. And what we usually do is usually sets 1/2 inch, 3/4 or so below the metal wiper, and it stops right about 3/4 of the way back at the bottom of the teeth. And so you want to make sure that the PVC wiper is slotted. You can adjust it down, and when you're done adjusting it down, you turn it over and go to the other side and adjust it down. 7/16 bolts, and I don't know, there's 10 or 12 of them across there to hold that thing in place. Keep that adjusted up. Take a look at that. That's about the main things on the wiper assemblies: PVC and the shock absorbers and the bearings. Okay, weekly maintenance. Weekly maintenance is the bearings. That's your weekly maintenance on the bar screen. Monthly is just check the wiper. I check the wiper, see if it's working okay. Check the shock, see if it's dropping it down slowly. Check your PVC wiper, it's gray in color. See if it needs adjusted. Take a look at it. Go over to page 4, next page. Okay, we got quarterly up there. We got a shear pin. This unit don't have a shear pin. It has a what we call an Emitron device. It's in the control cabinet, and we'll get into that more deeper when we go out there.